Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but very few can feel. Niccolo Machiavelli. Pay close attention because what follows is about to change something permanent in how you look at every person who has ever made you feel small. Disrespect is never an accident. It isn't a mood, a bad afternoon, or words that slipped out wrong. Disrespect is a verdict, one the world quietly hands down on you long before you even realize you've been standing trial. People probe you the same way a wolf circles a fence line, searching for the weak post. They lean in, they provoke. They study your eyes for a flicker, clock how long your silence lasts, and from that, they calculate exactly how much of you is theirs to take. And most men simply surrender it. They over-explain, they plead their case. They go begging for understanding from people who were never confused about what they were doing in the first place. Machiavelli understood something the modern world has forgotten. Respect is not given to the kind, the loud, or the loyal. Respect is given to the man who cannot be moved, the man who cannot be read, the man whose absence is louder than another man's presence. Tonight, you are going to learn 6 cold, surgical, unshakable laws for handling anyone who does not respect you. Laws built on the philosophy of Machiavelli and sharpened on the blade of dark psychology. By the end of this video, you will not react the same way. You will not speak the same way. You will not carry yourself the same way. You will walk differently, think differently, and vanish entirely from the reach of small people. So sit down, turn everything else off, because the man who finishes this video is not the man who started it, and the world is about to start treating you very, very differently. Let us begin. Law 1. Master the weapon of silence. The first weapon Machiavelli would place in your hand is the one most men are terrified to hold. Silence. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of confusion, the silence of a man who has already decided. When someone disrespects you, the weak man rushes to defend himself. He explains. He justifies. He reaches for words the way a drowning man reaches for driftwood. And in that moment, he hands every ounce of his power to the person who insulted him. Because explanation is submission dressed up as intelligence. Understand this carefully. When you respond to disrespect with words, you validate the disrespect. You tell the other person that their opinion of you matters enough to move your tongue. You confirm that they have reached you. But when you meet disrespect with silence, cold, flat, unreadable silence, something shifts in the room that no sentence could ever create. They begin to doubt themselves. They replay their own words in their head and hear, for the first time, how small they sounded. They wait for your reaction, and your refusal to give one becomes the loudest sound in their mind. Silence is not the absence of a response. Silence is the response. Silence tells them, "You are not important enough to disturb my peace." Silence tells them, "I have already passed judgment, and I am not interested in the verdict reaching your ears." Silence tells them, "You exist beneath the altitude at which I operate." Here is a detail worth knowing about the man himself. Machiavelli spent 14 months as secretary of the Florentine Republic, negotiating face-to-face with kings, popes, and generals, men who had spent their entire lives learning to read an opponent's smallest flinch. He came away from those rooms convinced that the ruler who spoke least was feared most, because an unknown mind is always more terrifying than a known one. When people cannot predict you, they cannot manipulate you. When they cannot read you, they begin to fear you. So train yourself to hold your tongue when every nerve in your body is screaming to defend itself. Let them talk. Let them insult. Let them perform for an audience that refuses to clap. Watch their face as they realize you are not going to react. Watch the discomfort spread through them like cold water finding every crack. That discomfort is the beginning of their respect. Practice silence in small moments first. The passive remark at work, the backhanded comment from a relative, the dismissal from someone who thinks you are beneath them. Do not answer, do not correct, do not defend. Simply look, register, and move on as if nothing had been said at all. Over time, this silence becomes your signature. People will begin to measure their words around you. They will feel the weight of your quiet before they ever hear your voice. And that, my friend, is the first law of the untouchable man. The one who speaks least controls the most. Law 2. Kill the reaction before it is born. The second weapon runs deeper than silence, because it lives beneath your skin, the killing of the reaction itself. Silence controls your mouth. This controls your face, your eyes, your breath, your pulse. Most men believe they are composed simply because they did not speak, but their jaw tightened, their eyes flickered, their shoulders rose half an inch, their breath caught for a single second, and the other person saw all of it. Remember this: disrespect is a hunt, and your reaction is the blood in the water. The moment they see you flinch, they know they have reached you. They know exactly where the wound is, and they know they can return to it whenever they please. So the untouchable man does not merely hide his reaction. He kills it before it is born. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who could not be provoked could not be controlled, because emotion is the back door through which every manipulator enters. When someone insults you and your face does not move, something unnatural happens in their mind. They expected impact. They prepared for it. They rehearsed it. And when the impact never comes, they are left holding a weapon that no longer works. Train yourself like a soldier. When the insult lands, do not inhale sharply. Breathe slowly and deeply, as if they had said nothing worth the oxygen. Do not lock eyes in anger. Hold the gaze with the flat, boring stillness of a man watching a fly. Do not tighten your hands. Let them rest open, untouched by their words. Let your face become a wall so smooth that they cannot find a single crack to climb. This is not suppression. Suppression is still a reaction, just one hidden poorly. This is something deeper, the rewiring of how you receive the world. You begin to see disrespect not as an attack, but as information. Information about who they are, about what they fear, about how little control they actually have over themselves. And information never wounds a man. Only meaning does. So strip the meaning from their words before it ever reaches you. That decision has to be made in quiet moments, long before the insult arrives, because in the heat of the moment, there is no time to choose. You fight the way you trained. So train your stillness. Train your breath. Train your face. A man who cannot be provoked cannot be ruled. A man who cannot be read cannot be manipulated. And a man whose reaction dies before it ever reaches the surface becomes something the world quietly, instinctively, begins to fear. Law 3. Withdraw your presence. The power of absence. The third weapon is the one most men refuse to use, because it demands something they do not have: the courage to disappear. Understand this law and burn it into the walls of your mind. Attention is oxygen, and the people who disrespect you are breathing yours. Every message you send, every room you walk into, every laugh you offer, every minute of your time, every glance of your eyes, you are feeding them. You are keeping them alive in your life. And then you wonder why they do not respect you. They do not respect you because you are always there. You have made yourself common. You have made yourself expected. You have made yourself a fixture in their world. And no man has ever respected a fixture. Machiavelli knew that rulers who were always visible were always vulnerable, because familiarity is the slow poison of authority. Presence, when overused, curdles into contempt. Absence, when used correctly, ripens into myth. So withdraw. Not with announcements, not with dramatic goodbyes, not with long messages explaining why you are stepping back. Simply thin yourself out of their life like smoke leaving a room. Answer slower, appear less, laugh shorter. Stop filling the silences they create. Stop being the one who always reaches first. Stop being the one who always shows up. Let them feel the shape of the space you used to occupy. Let them reach for you and find only air. Let them wonder where you went, what you are building, who you are becoming without them. Because the mind is a strange machine. It does not miss what is given freely. It only misses what is taken away. The moment you withdraw, you become interesting again. The moment you become scarce, you become valuable again. The moment they can no longer predict your presence, they begin to study it. And study, my friend, is the beginning of respect. Do not confuse this with games or manipulation. This is not about making them chase you. This is about reclaiming the hours, the energy, and the attention you were bleeding into people who never deserved a single drop of it. Pour that energy back into yourself, into your body, your mind, your craft, your silence. Let them imagine what you are building in the dark. Let their imagination do the work your words never could. And when they finally see you again, rarer, quieter, sharper, heavier, they will not recognize the man standing before them. They will feel his weight before he speaks. They will adjust their tone before he even asks them to. Because absence, used with discipline, does what presence never could. It makes the world lean toward you instead of away. Law 4. Study them. Turn disrespect into intelligence. The fourth weapon separates the reactive man from the dangerous one, because it transforms every insult into information. Most men, when disrespected, feel. The untouchable man, when disrespected, studies. Understand this carefully. Every person who disrespects you is handing you a map of themselves, and most men are too wounded to read it. They see the attack, they do not see the attacker. They feel the sting of the words and miss the confession hidden inside them, because disrespect is always a confession. It tells you what the other person fears, envies, resents, and cannot control within themselves. A man who mocks your ambition is terrified of his own stagnation. A man who belittles your silence is unsettled by his own noise. A man who laughs at your discipline is haunted by his own weakness. Every insult is a window into someone's interior, and the strategist who learns to read those windows will never be caught off guard again. This is worth knowing. In 1502, Machiavelli was sent as an official Florentine envoy to observe Cesare Borgia during his brutal conquest of the Romagna. He spent weeks at Borgia's side, watching, saying almost nothing, recording everything. He did not write home about Borgia's cruelty as a moralist would. He wrote about Borgia's methods as an engineer studying a machine. That single mission, more than any other, shaped the cold, observational eye that would later produce The Prince. Machiavelli did not teach rulers to fight their enemies. He taught them to understand their enemies so completely that the fight became unnecessary. So when someone disrespects you, do not confront them. Watch them. Watch their eyes when they say your name. Watch who they perform for. Watch what they brag about, because that is what they secretly feel small about. Watch what they mock, because that is what they secretly fear. Watch their friendships, their hierarchies, their insecurities dressed up as jokes. Gather everything. Store everything. Say nothing. Let them believe you are too slow, too soft, or too distracted to notice. That belief is a gift, because a man who is underestimated is a man who is free to move. While they are performing, you are calculating. While they are shouting, you are mapping. While they are spending their energy on you, you are spending nothing on them. This is the cold patience of power, the stillness of a predator with no need to pounce, because he already knows exactly where the prey will run. And here is the final truth of this law. The moment you understand someone completely, they lose every weapon they thought they had over you. You know their triggers before they pull them. You know their insults before they land. You know their strategies before they even speak. Disrespect becomes noise, predictable, repetitive, almost boring. And when a man has studied his enemy long enough, he no longer needs to defeat him. He simply watches the enemy defeat himself. So, from this day forward, stop reacting to the insult. Start reading the person who delivered it. Information is power, and power is never handed to the loud. Law 5. Raise your value until they cannot reach you. The fifth weapon is the one that ends the war permanently, because it removes you from the battlefield entirely. Silence controls your mouth. Stillness controls your face. Absence controls your presence. Study controls your mind. But this controls your altitude. Understand this law, because it is the one that quietly separates the untouchable from the merely composed. People only disrespect what they believe they can reach. The moment you rise beyond their reach, disrespect becomes structurally impossible. Not forbidden, not punished. Impossible. A man does not throw stones at a mountain because the mountain does not notice, and the stones do not matter. So stop trying to correct small people. Stop trying to win arguments with men who are beneath your trajectory. Stop wasting breath defending yourself to people whose opinions will mean nothing to you in 5 years. Instead, pour every ounce of that energy, every second, every drop of focus, every unit of will into raising yourself so high that their voices cannot climb the distance. Machiavelli understood that power is not proven through confrontation. It is proven through elevation. The ruler who is always fighting his critics is a ruler losing ground. The ruler who builds while his critics shout is a ruler the critics eventually come to serve. So build. Build your body until your presence changes the temperature of a room. Build your mind until your words carry weight that others cannot lift. Build your skill until your name arrives in a room before you do. Build your discipline until your time becomes too expensive for small conversations. Build your composure until nothing outside of you can reach what lives inside of you. And do it silently. Do not announce your rise. Do not post it. Do not explain it. Let them discover it the way one discovers a locked door where a welcome mat used to be. Because the men who disrespected you were only ever measuring the version of you they could still touch. The moment that version dies, their disrespect dies with it. Not because they suddenly became wise, but because you became unreachable. They will feel it before they understand it. Their tone will soften. Their jokes will shrink. Their eyes will hold you a moment longer. They will begin to seek your approval with the same mouths that once mocked you. And you will feel nothing, because you will no longer live in the world where their approval had any currency. This is the final geometry of power. You do not defeat the people who disrespected you. You outgrow the world in which they ever had the standing to do so. Rise high enough, and the insult never reaches you. Rise high enough, and neither do they. Law 6. The surgical cut. The sixth and final weapon is the one Machiavelli reserved for the moment when all the others had served their purpose. The surgical cut. Some people will not change, no matter how silent you become, no matter how still your face, no matter how scarce your presence, no matter how high you rise. They will keep reaching, keep pulling, keep poisoning the air around you with quiet disrespect disguised as familiarity. For these people, there is only one answer, and it is the coldest answer of them all. Remove them without warning. No speeches, no final confrontations, no long messages explaining your reasons, no dramatic announcements of your departure. You simply disappear from their life the way a blade disappears into its sheath, silently, completely, and without apology. Most men cannot do this, because most men crave the closure of being understood one last time. They want the other person to know why. They want to deliver the final word. They want to be remembered correctly. But understand this. Every explanation you offer is a rope they will use to pull you back. Every goodbye is a door left open. The surgical cut leaves no rope, no door, no opening, no trace. One day you were there, the next day you were not. And they are left standing in a silence they will spend years trying to decode. It is a philosophy Machiavelli stated with characteristic bluntness in The Prince. Injuries ought to be done all together, so that being tasted less, they offend less. Applied here, the lesson is simple. Mercy extended to the wrong person becomes cruelty to yourself. So cut cleanly, cut quietly, and cut once. Do not revisit it. Do not explain it. Do not soften it. Let your absence be the final sentence they ever hear from you. This is how the untouchable man ends every relationship that was costing him more than it ever gave. Your turn. Now listen carefully, because this is where your transformation begins. If this reached something deep inside you, if it rearranged the way you see yourself, the people around you, and the silent war for respect you have been fighting your whole life, then I want you to do one thing before you leave. In the comments below, write a unique, empowering phrase, your own personal law, your own quiet vow, the words you will carry into every room from this day forward. Make it yours. Make it sharp. Make it something a weaker man could never write. And if this changed even a little of how you see the room you're standing in right now, that's exactly why this channel exists. To keep sharpening that same edge, one video at a time. Stay. Subscribe. Let the next one find you when you need it. Because the untouchable man is never finished becoming himself. Remember this. The world does not respect the loud. The world respects the unreachable. Go become him.